Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Gail Carson, your host for Women in Business, a show that celebrates women and their accomplishments as entrepreneurs or senior managers. As a woman business owner for over 5 decades, I take great pride in bringing these interviews to you. I'm also president of the SOB clubs, so if any of you are interested in joining one in your area, just let us know. Well, my guest today is Becky Chaffee. And Becky has a civil engineering degree from the University of California, Berkeley, and Cornell University. And although she worked in the field for many years, she also devoted her time to raising 2 musical children and volunteering in schools and churches. And belonging to a business club and a member of Kiwanis, her children gained independence, and of course she had time to sew. So a creative, out-of-the-box thinker with a sense of design, which is who she is, and a love for music, she made a violin-shaped purse in which local professional violinists love to carry the extra strings, a metronome, and equipment on stage. These items were usually left backstage in their cases, so she started a small business, Violets by Becky, to market her bags. And those bags function as whimsical, wearable art purses, but are also a hit with musicians. Boy, Becky, welcome to the show. You are certainly a lot more creative than I am.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, I can tell you, I don't probably have a creative bone in my body when it comes to designing or anything to do with art or architecture or anything like that. So let's talk to you about what made you think of sewing a violin and how did you name the company?
Well, I'm a gift giver, so I hadn't had time in years because I was a taxi driver and my daughter was not in a hurry to get her license. So both my kids all of a sudden had their license about the same time, and all of a sudden I had time to sew. And in 1 year I sewed about 8 or 10 purses as gifts, and buying 3 different patterns, it was amusing to me that the 3 patterns were constructed completely differently as a purse. And so I was walking through a craft store and saw this button that looked like a violin chin rest, and it popped into my head, I've got to sew a violin purse. So I did, and a friend of mine for years had been telling me, oh, you're so creative, you should sell things on Etsy. Well, you just can't sell things. But anyway, this was different, and it's very sweet. And so I invited my daughter's violin teacher. My daughter by then was in college, gone away. I invited her violin teacher to come over and look at it. Well, we weren't really friends. I mean, we were friendly, but she is an elegant woman, and if I was going to sell them, I wanted them to be elegant. So she came over, and I was quite embarrassed because you don't need a PhD violin player from Juilliard to judge a purse. But she not only liked it, but she said, I need this. And like you said, to carry my paraphernalia, my spare strings, rosin, metronome, they have to leave their cases backstage. Even during rehearsals, there's no room on the floor for their cases. So they're allowed to bring one thing like a purse, and this was perfect. And then people asked her about it. They loved it, and a cellist wanted it. And then the cellist needed it bigger. She loaded it down with more stuff, heavier. And so for a whole year, I sewed them to improve them and develop them to make easier to make and more practical for use. They're still not easy to make, but they're awesome.
Wow, that's fantastic. You know, it's amazing how out of just one little small thing, a whole business is created. So now you have many different styles, evidently. So what is your best seller and what's your favorite?
So, I guess I didn't finish the last question. The violets were named after little violins, obviously, and the Violet name was taken, so it had to be violetsbybecky.com. And then, yes, people asked for more instruments. First, a lady said, if you make a guitar, I'll buy it and give it to my boyfriend for his birthday. So I made guitars, and then ukuleles came out of that because there's a ukulele craze, I think, and they're so similar to guitars, and then grand pianos. But the most popular are the guitars. They're hand-painted. And some of the most popular painting designs are a silhouette of a hand making a peace sign over an American flag. a long stem rose, and there's a design I call black elegance or red elegance. It's a black or red background with some beautiful scrolly gold scrolls, I guess. And that's pretty. And the ukulele with the pineapple painting, with the whole ukulele is painted like a pineapple. That's very, very popular. But we love custom orders because my artists and I have fun making up new paintings.
Well, you probably always have to come up with new designs and new ideas. Yes. And but it sounds like you don't have any problem with that. So that's the important thing. And I would think, your engineering background. I mean, engineers, they're often thought of as not creative, but you have to be creative because you have to understand everything that goes into a particular project. So have you won any awards doing this?
Well, I collaborated on this project with my brother, who is a composer and writer residing in Berlin, Germany. And he wrote some stories, and I constructed some handmade violins to go with those stories. There's a Romani or Gypsy musician story and a Chagall pilgrimage story. Anyway, I submitted my violin artwork, handmade violins, to the Arts in the Airport. Most of the airports these days have Arts in the Airport exhibitions. So it will be for the next 6 months in the local exhibit at the Tyson-McGee Airport. That's exciting.
Wow, that's very nice. So all of a sudden, you went from being this engineer to being a mom to being a designer and owner of a business. So what is your favorite part of all of this?
Well, I love designing. I love inventing new things. That's so much fun. But a new thing to me is going to these festivals. That's so fun. Of course, I sell best at a music festival. But I just went to Nashville to the Cherry Blossom Festival, and oh boy, I got a new client there. Somebody wants to buy my purses to give to visiting dignitaries. But what's fun at festivals is people seek you out and come and tell you their stories, their music stories, their children's stories. And amazingly enough, so many people peek into my tent and tell me what a genius I am. You wouldn't believe how many people do that. And
Well, all the people who can't design, I'm sure feel that way, because that would be somebody like me. But again, now it's very interesting because there are people who follow festivals and do exhibit what they make or sell there. Is that part of your plan, or do you do that already?
That is a whole lot of work, and I have so much fun. But festivals are thousands of dollars, both to enter, or the big music festivals are at least $1,000, and then the money to travel and stay in hotels, and so it's difficult, but it's fun. So no, I'm just picking. I'm going to a wine festival soon. Just picking and choosing and see how it goes.
So what is your company mission then?
Well, I have a mission to give back to youth music education. I've donated a number of bags to causes for fundraising for that. I have helped people physically, pitched in my labor and gotten some donors besides myself for fundraisers. But a big thing I did is I ran my own fundraiser for the local Joy of Music school, which gives free lessons to underprivileged children. But best of all, I hold an annual youth composition and songwriter competition for ages 10 through 18, and it turns out it's a national competition. They submit their scores and recording online. I have amazing, accomplished, professional volunteer judges who judges the children's work, and one of the biggest things about the competition, or one of the best, I think, is they're getting encouraging professional feedback from these judges. They're taking it seriously. I've met a number of these judges on LinkedIn when I said, I need this, and they said, I like what you're doing. We want to give back. People have helped us along the way. I have an Emory composition professor who writes commissioned music for the Atlanta Symphony is one of my judges. This is amazing. And for the songwriter judges, I have some local people from the Songwriter Association who've won regional and national awards. So that's really fun. And the first year, I donated all my own money and prizes, purses. The second year, which just happened, I got prizes donated, and a generous anonymous donor gave $1,000 for first place, and the local Digitrax Entertainment South Knox Studios donated a professional recording. And next year, I already have a couple amazing prizes already. A Summer Fine Arts Summer Academy has donated a $1,400 music camp position in a Nashville camp. It's run by the Annie Moses Band. So that's exciting. And I have a guitar donated by U.S. Music Corps.
So you would say then that you have a small business, correct?
Very small, yeah.
And do you want to grow it any larger? I mean, we have people listening, and sometimes they think, oh, I've got to start, and I've got to grow this to this 7-figure or 8-figure type of business. I've got to hire people or subcontract out to people. But you sound like you're very happy just doing a very small business. So tell us a little bit about that. What is your vision, let's say, in 5 years?
In 5 years, I would love it to be humming along. I would like to have a few people helping with the social media, and actually the competition is so great fun and it's so special, but it's huge work, to get the prizes, the press releases, the everything. It'd be nice to have a few assistants, but I need people. I have a lot of wholesale clients, but I don't make much on that markup. I need people coming to my website so that I can afford to grow to a few employees.
Well, I think that's an important lesson. I think that our listeners need to be aware of the fact you need to look at what you want the end result to be. And even though here we are women who are givers and sharers and we want to do for everybody, you have to make a living and you have to have a profit. I mean, those are okay things. So I think that an important thing for our listeners to pay attention to is to say, okay, where do I want to be in 5 years? And therefore, what do I have to do to get there? And I guess, Becky, that's something that you're looking at as well. In other words, maybe you shouldn't be supplying things wholesale, or maybe the costs have to be more, or maybe you only have retail, or maybe you only do one festival or one competition a year, depending on what you can provide, so that, Becky keeps her sanity, which is an important thing as well. So give us an example of who your clients are.
Well, one thing about the wholesale, no, I really don't make money from the wholesale. It's very hard when you do handmade or locally done stuff. But one thing about the clients is I've proved that people that see them in person pay very well for them. They like them. I have them on sale in Nashville, Memphis, Austin, Texas, Hawaii. There's a gallery in Hawaii that's a music venue that's kind of fun. But I'm on eBay, Amazon, and Etsy. It'd be wonderful if people would come to my website. It's hard work to get people there and to purchase from there, I think. I think they think that maybe Amazon is more credible because it's Amazon. But they take so much money from me, I've bumped up my prices for that. If they would just come directly to the website, they might even pay less.
Well, that's true. People don't realize that, because I know that Amazon, of course, have sold my books and so forth, and I know there's not a whole lot of money to be made there. There's a lot of prestige because you can say you're on the best selling list, or you were in the top 20 or 50 or whatever it happens to be. But it's true. You make very little money when it's offered through Amazon. So your website is Violetts, VIOLETTES, by Becky.com. Is that correct?
That is right.
And so if people wanted to find out what you're doing and buy any of these, they could go directly there and probably get a much better deal than they would anywhere else. So how did you get these particular clients around the U.S. who are featuring your bags?
Well, hard